Hi everyone, and welcome to a new series that we're going to be doing individual songs. Today we're going to be talking about Uno the Ones, Get That Doh Part 1. My name is Holden Stefan Roy. We're going to call this track reviews because we're just not original on this one until I find a better name. But we're going to take songs like Uno the Ones, Get That Doh Part 1. We're going to talk about them, give thoughts and opinions, do basically what we do in the podcast, but shorter, more concise in an individual track because y'all might actually click on some 7 to 15 minute videos. I digress. I want to start these all now by plugging some stuff. I got a track that just dropped over on the Spotify. It's called Behind That Suit. I got a new one coming. You can check the DistroKid links and all that stuff below in the description. Also, if you support what we do, hit us up on that Patreon. We could use that help, and you can get the power to tell us what to review. But on that note, let's get into today's subject. See, this is a cat from Montreal, and I am from Montreal, as you can see. And this is a cat in the logo, because that's actually, she's a cool person who makes that brand. Still, you can check out Montreal's Finest IG if you want to check them out. I digress. We are getting off topic. See, I don't know the guy, Mr. Uno the One, very well on like a super personal level, but I do know who he is. I mean, literally, I walk by the guy while he plays his saxophone up in the Snowden Metro a whole bunch of times. He's on the Facebook, like we both Montreal hip-hop community Facebook's like there's a large network of a good couple of hundred of us that are all mutual friends that all are involved in the same comment threads and all see the same kind of stuff going on, whether or not people want to acknowledge each other's whatever. But I've been watching stuff since 2012, and one thing I can tell you is that Mr. Uno the One, I never saw the name Uno the One before today when I clicked on the video to make sure to check out this song. I've always known the guy is Jay Uno. He's one of the realest real ones I've personally seen in terms of like consistent authenticity of the character of the man being representative of integral values that I can get behind. In general, like I have like memories of like I think it was like 2013ish being at like Crowbar as he's busting out a saxophone, and then I got to bust a little freestyle over his saxophone, and I certainly got laid that evening because the girl I was with at the time was very interested in the fact that me and a saxophone blended up. So like Jay Uno has directly contributed to some happy times in my life is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if the Uno the One's a complete rebrand. If so, I'll try to stick to that because it was said there. Anyway, the main reason we're doing this song is a Facebook post dudes made a little bit ago, right after I made a video on 6ix9ine's Gooba, and I stand by making that video. But I also feel like after reading his post, to be fair, I should probably also make videos more on the local people as well. See, his post, to the long story short, is kind of whack if you're going to support the snitch and you're not going to support your local talent. And that's like the short version. And I get where he's coming from. Now, Mr. Uno over here has been really about like promoting positive community-oriented initiatives, bringing truth and stuff. And he's like a guy from, I would argue, a old school class of thinking, but based on knowledge and wisdom and stuff. So I imagine that in this guy's world, street code is a real thing that matters. Now, just to go to the level of like community involvement, somebody I was close to once upon a time had a situation with the police. And anyway, she had some legal shits, and he was one of those artists that showed up to help raise money and be involved in that kind of. I remember seeing his name, and I find like I'm always seeing his name attached to some community effort or another, or some movement or something that's just not his egotism. Like I don't look at this guy and go, he's just another. Nah, he's like the kind of missionary kind of guy in life, like one of those dudes who like you almost are intimidated by a little bit because you know that he's so authentic. He like you don't want to be like you got to be like super honest and transparent with him because like he's that level. That's at least what I get from him. Again, I don't even know how many times I've literally talked to him in real life. The last interaction we had, I threw a toonie into his thing. That's a $2 coin. I don't really carry a lot of cash, and I never give money to anybody, so me giving $2 to this guy is as significant to me at least as anybody giving $1,000 to anything. It's just not something I really do, but dudes is proper, and this isn't about me. It's just that's how much I really respect him. And you hear him And you're like, it's a good day. Uno's there playing his sax. And like, he's just there grinding it out. And like, when I put out the call to artists in Montreal who wanted to migrate into VR and come do some shit to like put our city in the map in a more interesting way, Uno is one of those dudes that actually showed up and was like, yo, I'm interested in making innovative choices for the betterment of our city rather than trying to cling to things that don't make sense. So all that to be said, he had that Facebook post. Now, I'm the kind of guy where I'm not streets. I work in corporate America, and I've never been involved in the criminal side of life. I just don't have that street code ethic. I have corporate office politics ethic, which is a very different world with a lot less loyalty. So most of the people that I know who would listen and consume something like a Snitch Nine's music, it's because, there is no loyalty in my world. 80 to 90% of Montreal's population is in a world with no loyalty. I don't think the streets demographically just has the numbers to impact shit like 6ix9ine's success. Like, even if every hip-hop head in the world was like, fuck it, we're all gonna boycott 6ix9ine, 80% of the music listeners are pop fans, and 6ix9ine's a pop star. So, like, who cares? Honestly, he's not the streets to, like, anybody other than teenage kids that if it wasn't for him are gonna... We're not... Anyway, I know that my opinion isn't necessarily relevant here on this video, but I look at it like... just a word of caution to all the street dudes that are out there calling out his name every day. In the last week, 90% of the time 6ix9ine's name got brought up was from some street guy complaining about 6ix9ine, not from people or his fans sharing this stuff. I saw a lot of men complaining about it, and all I thought about all week was 6ix9ine. Why? Because people just kept making statuses complaining about him. Well, if y'all are going to make him a trending topic through your hate, you're literally doing what he said in like the third verse or second verse of his track. It's like, he's like, y'all going to make me trend from your hate. And then everybody's doing that. So I'm like, don't say his name. Treat him like Voldemort. And then maybe he'll go away. But as long as people keep saying his name and complaining, and you go tell a bunch of arrogant kids, don't do this, what do you think they're going to do? So like, just pretend like all the people that support him are like infantile children, and you gotta be like dad wisdom and not approach it like smacking the kid, because that shit doesn't work. All that to be said, I just had to get that off my chest a little bit because it was a lot to think about over the last few days, and I've watched this conversation be bigger. But what I thought was super fascinating about Uno the One is that he didn't make it about himself. Well, he kind of did by plugging his link, and that's why I clicked on it. But I like the song, so we're here. I really like what he did. Like a while ago, him and the next dude, I feel bad. I don't remember the dude's name. Anyway, they had this Criminal song, and one of my favorite moments of like the last couple of years is this guy's ad lib going criminal. Like I listened to that shit like 20 times easily, just because of his criminal ad lib. They say I'm a criminal. See, I can do it. I fucking really like that shit. And it's a good song. And I listened to it a whole bunch. And I don't know. Then I got to this one and we started playing it. And I like his music video. I like the look on his face in the music video. I like the freaking angle he's at. Like, just everything about it. And then it kicks in with this smooth, funky. And what I like about it is you want to dance a little bit to it. Like, you don't want to sit still listening to a J Uno vibe. You want to move. He's got like the rhythm in like the vibe of what he does. And then it just kicks through with, like, I get that dough, said I get that dough, faster, slow, stacking mo, and that's for sure. Now, I did my best to transcribe your lyrics, homie, if you watch this. I don't know if I got them right. I did my best. But, it's not... His vibe is so good. He, like, sings the line and he repeats it. Almost every lyric he repeats because dude's just got a vibe to him. It's this laid-back, groovy... marijuana is probably would be what I would recommend for this guy's vibe. Like, just a lot of marijuana would be, like, a really good situation for his music. Like, I wouldn't drink alcohol to this or do harder. I would THC the fuck up and be like, I get that dough. I'm right. I'm feeling it. Anyway, I wasn't 1,000% sure on the next line, but he kind of vibes through. But what I also really like is he sings it out. He's got a great sense of melody to it, doubles it over, really drives home. It's got this like flair to his delivery that's real nice, like real confident. And then he just keeps changing it. We on the rise, stay underground, we go rise till we shine. And then he just keeps repeating that, right? And then it kind of feels like this is rather than it being like a lot of verses and a hook or whatever, it's just a bunch of little vignettes attached together with slight changes and evolutions in the track as it goes. It's really nice. It doesn't feel pop at all. It feels really vibe music, like something real underground, like I throw it on and just do shit to it rather than really think about it. I'd grind to this. That's a good point. I'd like listen to this while copying and pasting. Anyway, I like how when he's repeating it, he goes, "We gonna rise until," and he cuts off that shit. He doesn't say "we shine." You watching it, we doing it. You acknowledge it. I suppose I am acknowledging you doing it, Mr. Uno. That is what I'm doing it. Fuck the government, street pol, and then he repeats that. And I like that. You watching it, we doing it, you acknowledge it, fuck the government. And I think that's a cool line because it's almost like a double entendre. It's like you, me, the people, everyone else, but also the government and their kind of big brotherian ways of tracking us. This dude's real into that world and is up to date on the different threats and dangers of society in that regard. And he's one of the ones that spits stuff and doesn't sound like a crazy conspiracy theorist that doesn't know what he's talking about. He's about the only one on my current friends list that I'll even take a little bit seriously because he actually clearly does know a little bit about a little bit of things, as opposed to a lot of people who rely on YouTube links. So kudos on that. Street politics, I'm running it. My pocket thick and I'm loving it. Fair enough. I have a lot to comment on the lyrics. To me, they're like straight up grinding shit. But like I literally watched a dude grind as I'm coming home from my grind. So like I just know straight up this man busks. This man actually takes that energy of his life and puts it out there. So when I hear him spitting it, perhaps it's the context of knowing who he is and his ethic, but I feel it. Who run the show? I run the show. I hit the road. I run the show. Got the stove. I get the stove. I'm getting it fast or slow. It's all good. I don't know who runs the show in Montreal, to be honest. I know that I personally don't know that I care if the streets give me approval or not because I'm going on the internet. I will bring Montreal with me as I rise out and ignore the streets and go get middle-class corporate America. What up? 5-figure people who can buy your merch money fans? Because that's what I'm going for, not the broke people who really don't give a shit about giving back. Because, yo, something just a side note. I noticed a lot of artists in this city are not fan-centric. They're very circle-jerk-each-other-centric. So big ups to Jay Uno for being so culture-centric. I don't know that I'm yet fully culture-centric. I'm trying to turn myself into a culture-centric person, but Uno's one of those dudes I would use as like almost a role model. I don't know. I'm not trying to ride your dick or anything, dog, if you're watching this. I'm just spitting to the people who are my audience that I consider you to be a real one. Anyway. Hustle the flow, made something from nothing to make it some more. Up on the road, take a few stones and he turned it to gold. I suppose that's like the essence of grinding music, right? Like you pushing through. He's able to take the sounds and the existence, go there with his saxophone, walk out with some money, walk out with a situation, be able to use the talents and gifts given to him, and basically take the few stones and turn it to gold. I like the metaphor for just using what you have in your world to create and to grind and to push through it. And that's why they hate it. They contemplate it. That bread be baking means making money. And when I consider life now, I guess I'm starting to reach the tier where the insecure folk who are not making moves don't like me. I can't say the successful people making moves like me yet, but the insecure people not making moves are threatened by me. So when I hear lines like this and I see a guy like Uno who is uncompromisingly himself, I really appreciate where he's coming from and the elegance and the air, the way he sings it. And dude can sing, so I really appreciate that. Chorus kicks in, it's cool. And then I feel like why it's part one, it kind of cuts off like a preview of the next track, which I think is very telling of their age, is way like a little bit on the older end of stuff, because that's some shit. I think like Papoose was the last rapper I saw actually do that recently on that album he dropped last year. Or this year earlier when he did his numerical slaughter and then kind of hyped up the part 2 right there. I actually kind of took that idea a little bit. I don't know. I like it because it makes me like feel throwbacky, but I kind of don't like it because it makes the song end in such a jarring way. But it's such a cool stylistic choice. Like it's catchy in the sense that it makes me want part 2. So I feel very split on it. Like I'm left on a cliffhanger. So I guess the emotional state I felt at the end of the song is exactly what's intended from their end. Whatever. But I think it's his rapper friend, but it comes through with from the city city of broke dreams, where you can lose your life in the cold streets. Like I'm from Montreal. I see it as a city of opportunity, but I suppose I'm in corporate America, so it's a different world for me. I'm in software. Montreal is a software city. For everybody that wants to talk about everything, the real money in this city is real estate and software. Everything else is secondary hustles. If you can come up with a software thing, we are basically the Silicon Valley level in Montreal. The city does a bunch of tax code shits to encourage software companies to come at the cost of storefronts and things like that. It's part of why downtown's falling to shit and all of the stuff's happened there. It's because all the mega money comes from the Facebook AI and the Google, and all these companies have literal offices in Montreal. We are a software city. All the people who make cash work in white collar software land. Throwing it out there. So, but there is other sides of the city. Like I'm not going to pretend to be naive. I lived on Elmhurst for a while. I'm aware that there are other sides to the city that absolutely do exist that I'm not a part of. We learn to play the price when we hold heat, still we hustle. And I like the idea of you understand the risk and you keep going and stuff, but I guess it's so weird to be in Montreal and to live in such a complete different reality while still being part of the musical culture that's shared by all of us, because the musical culture is shared by everybody regardless of streets or corporate. But then you have the streets, which is commonly associated with hip-hop. And there are probably not a lot of dudes living my life of middle management in a software company in the hip-hop game. But I do try to respect the culture. Like, that's why I wanted to do J Uno. That and, like, nothing else really came out today that I could tell. So I am recording this on May 15th, sorry. So I don't know if anything else really dropped. But this was on my checklist of stuff to get done, and I wanted to get it out. So, yo, what I can say is bump Man's track. It's actually real good. Support these dudes. There's some authentic, real ones. I like it. So you should check it out. That's why we made this video. Peace, everyone. Well, outro time. Thank y'all for watching. Subscribe to the channel because, you know, that's what we do here. Oh, I'd give the track a 4.5 on 5. It's got a solid vibe. Really solid. Like, I would throw this on when I find it on Spotify. If it's on Spotify, I don't know if it's there or not. I'd vibe to it. I really would. On YouTube, less so because it's on YouTube and I don't like listening to music on YouTube. But on other platforms, I'd vibe to this. I would throw this on my copy-paste wavy. When I want to do this kind of like da-da-da-da, when I want to do this dance move, that's this kind of vibe for it to me. All right, so yo, I like the track a lot. I like that y'all watch me and talk with me and give me comments. So look forward to seeing what you have to say down there. Hit that like button if you felt it. Special thanks to the patrons: Ismail Kadamsi, Chris Pratt, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black, Hurricane, Lindo, Williams, Scribble, and Carl Jr. The Dope. They support what we do. They're awesome real folks, so they support us. If you want to support us in whatever, you can do that through Patreon. This is a terrible outro. If you're a Montreal artist and you want me to talk about your music, email behindthatsuit@gmail.com. Maybe I'll do it. I'm not asking for money yet, but for now it's all freeze. Anyway, like I said, I make music, but I already plugged myself at the beginning. So yo, live long and prosper, everyone.